Hey, Scruffy. You know, it's Meowy. Yeah. Scruffy was really meowy earlier today. Oh. Going exploring, huh? Yeah. Yeah. I guess there's some meows there. So we got your smelly fish tonight. I thought the smelly fish looked a little thin, so I added a little extra rotisserie chicken and kibble. Wow. Going in the other way now. Oh. Okay. Let's get your food. So the weather is rainy. Okay, get your food on the table, and I think I'm going to move your water bowl down off the little table there, so I can grab it later. Get the glove on, and so yeah, the weather continues to be kind of rainy, a little cold, though it's actually not as cold as yesterday. It's actually a little warmer, I think, right now. And I checked the weather forecast, and yeah, it keeps predicting more rain. So basically, it's predicting the same weather ongoing. Except, yeah, it looks like it's going to get a little bit warmer, so we're going to be far off the lows that we had in the early mornings. But yeah, there are more flood warnings and no more freeze warnings, though. So that's good. So yeah, I was going to talk about Scruffy being very meowy. So he's very meowy at lunch. I did get footage of that, so you'll get to see his lunch greeting a little bit later when I splice in that video. But yeah, later this afternoon, it was mid-afternoon. I was actually about to leave the house to go for a run because it looked like we were getting a break in the rain. And I heard Scruffy, or I heard some cat meowing, and it was these very loud, kind of purry, raspy meows. And yeah, it was very, well, yeah, I thought it was probably Scruffy, since yeah, he's the only cat that usually hangs out near the house, and that's now vocal. But I thought maybe, yeah, there was another cat that was engaging, maybe a fight or something, and they're making sounds or something. So anyway, he was on the side of the house, and I looked out a window that was nearby. I happened to be passing nearby because I was getting ready to leave for my run. So I heard him. Looked out the window, and he was on the kind of in the side of the house, kind of in the middle, kind of in the middle, not really directed at the house. He was actually facing away from me. He wasn't facing towards the house. Where are you going, Scruffy? And yeah, that was kind of a purry meow there too, but yeah, the ones I heard were much louder. So basically, he was facing away from me, wasn't really directed at the house, and he was just kind of sitting there doing these really loud, kind of purry, raspy meows. There's a strong headbutt. And he kept doing it, so it was. Didn't like me meowing there? Yeah, it was one after the other, and I couldn't figure out why he was doing it. So I don't think he was calling for me because yeah, he wasn't. Yeah, he wasn't near any door or window. He wasn't really directed at the house. He wasn't near this area where I usually feed him, or the other door where I feed him sometimes in the middle of the night. So unfortunately, I didn't have a camera nearby, and yeah, by the time if I did get a camera, by the time I got it, he had stopped. So he did multiple meows, but then he eventually stopped. And the only thing I could figure out was I heard birds chirping pretty loudly. And so yeah, we've been getting a lot of loud bird chirpings when the weather turns nice these past few weeks. It feels like spring when it's not like this. And my guess is that he was responding to the bird chirping. Now, I've heard and seen on YouTube that cats chatter at birds, but yeah, this type of meow didn't look like a chatter or sound like a chatter. It was really loud, and it was really purry and raspy. So Scruffy seemed to be very enthusiastic. And if it's a chattering thing, you'd think it'd scare. It was much louder than that, so you'd think it'd scare away the birds. So I don't know why he was doing that. Maybe he was just in a really good mood. But yeah, he was really, really vocal today. And then he stopped, and then he got up and walked back towards this area, out into the open, almost into the open. The deck was wet, but I think he went up to the edge of where it was wet. And then I think at the time the sun wasn't quite coming out, but it stopped raining, and it was, whoops, Scruffy is getting aggressive with the headbutt there. And I think I missed, so I was a little worried. He might have gotten angry. Yeah, grabbing my glove. So yeah, he walked out to kind of the edge, I guess, to take in the sight, and I lost sight of him because he went behind the big table. I couldn't see him. Thought maybe he'd jump up on the big table, but he didn't. So anyway, yeah, Scruffy is very meowy today. Not sure why. Scruffy's starting to calm down. Spoke too soon. Think about giving him his food. On the glove there. Yes. Fur's a little sticking up, kind of fluffy today. I think because of humidity from all the rain. So yeah, it is a little warmer today. So I think today the rain clouds, I think kind of trapped in some of the heat, so it didn't get quite as cold. So my hand's not going numb right now. I'm not wearing the glove on my camera hand right now. Okay, let's get your food. Just gonna grab this table. Put the table back here. So food down, and Scruffy can elevate it. So if you missed yesterday, I introduced the new table. Found it somewhere. Not sure what it is or what it goes with. But yeah, I've been worried about where I've been trying to deal with Scruffy throwing up at lunch. He's been throwing up more often at lunch recently. I think, well, maybe more often is not the correct term. So I've been feeding him at lunch. I stopped feeding him a long time ago when he stopped having interest in lunch, but he picked up interest in lunch recently again, so I started feeding him again, and because he's eating again at lunch, he's throwing up. And my theory was if he maybe eats a little elevated, the food will go down better. So I found that little table, and I thought maybe, yeah, that might help. So anyway, at lunch, yeah, I didn't see him. It was about midway through lunch. I thought he'd be waiting for me since the weather was bad. I didn't see him on the table this morning. And then when I opened the blinds, he was kind of straight down the aisle. So I think I couldn't see him because the table was blocking my view from the kitchen. So he's probably there all the whole time, and I just didn't see him. But yeah, he was very meowy. Hey, Scruffy. I didn't see you back there. You there all the time? Or... Yeah, it's raining again. So the weather forecast is finally correct. I've been predicting this for a couple weeks now. Finally happened. Yeah, almost like a broken clock, right? Keep saying the same thing, eventually you're right. Oh, you're meowy. Guess you don't like the weather too much, huh? Not as cold as I thought it'd be. Yeah. It's wet though. It's actually wetter than I thought it'd be. I didn't think we'd get this much water. It's not bad, but yeah, I'm always pessimistic about how much rain we get. We're always in drought. And so I got kibble for you and water. So you probably sip of water. And we're gonna try your new table so you don't throw up. And I think I'll move the up to the center so I can film you. Okay, let's move that there. Not sure how I want to do this. So tonight's dinner is party cuts. It's the smelly fish, so the real chicken and fish, and kibble and rotisserie chicken scraps. And yeah, the smelly fish looked like a lot of gravy tonight. I was a little worried there wasn't enough food in there. So I put in more kibble and I put in more rotisserie chicken scraps. And there are some nice chunky, fatty, meaty scraps tonight, so should make up for it. And then yeah, I wanted to give Scruffy kind of these extra foods, his favorite foods, because yeah, the weather's turned bad, so I figure make his day a little better. And then eventually I'll run out of the chicken scraps. But yeah, the forecast keeps predicting more rain, so I don't know when the weather's going to change. I'm actually surprised it's gone on this long, although the forecast has been pretty wrong in the past few weeks, so it keeps predicting one thing and it doesn't quite happen. It's finally starting to materialize, but yeah, they haven't really changed the forecast, so eventually I guess, well, they could be wrong indefinitely, particularly with our weather. Yeah, it's usually the complete opposite. It's always dry. But yeah, the rain finally came, and it kind of stopped this afternoon, or at least I thought it was stopping. The forecast actually said, yeah, it was stopping. So I decided I was going to go out for a run since it's going to keep raining, according to the forecast. I'm just looking for opportunities to get some exercise. Unfortunately, the forecast was wrong again, so it actually started raining while I was on my run. It wasn't a hard rain; it was kind of a constant drizzle, so it wasn't terrible. It wasn't enough to make me want to come home, but the drizzle was enough that I did get soaked by the end of my run, and I had a lot of water in my eyes. I had a hard time seeing because it was drizzling so hard or so much. So actually, I just changed into really dry clothes because I was soaked and starting to get cold. And I was actually surprised at how flooded the trails were. So I didn't think we were getting that much rain, even though they've been threatening flood warnings in this immediate area. I didn't think we were getting that much rain, especially since the area I'm sitting in right now is mostly dry. So I have a leak in the roof right above me. I got to get fixed. And last time we had severe rain, this area was flooded, and it's pretty dry right now. So I'm not sure what the deal is. But yeah, at the park, yeah, the trail was in certain parts pretty flooded. So I was actually spending a lot of time just kind of trying to avoid the really big mud puddles and not stepping in a mess. So my run was kind of terrible. I didn't really get up to speed or anything. I was just kind of going through the motion of running through the trails and trying not to step in the big giant puddles and flooded areas. There was one section that was completely flooded, so I had to uh, walk through the brush because yeah, the brush was elevated above the big giant flooded area, so I could walk there without wading through the water. But yeah, so I was surprised, yeah, the park got that much water. And because it was drizzling, I didn't see any animals. No cats were out today. I think before it started drizzling, I saw a squirrel or two, but yeah, they all kind of disappeared when it started drizzling. And in the distance, one of the roads that you can kind of see from the park, yeah, it was backed up with traffic, cars. I'm guessing there was an accident, so the traffic wasn't moving. So it was there when I started, and then by the time I finished my run, yeah, the traffic started moving again, so the backed up cars were gone. But yeah, I guess the rain's having an effect. Let's see. Oh, I didn't see Scruffy sleeping in the carrier today. So yeah, I didn't. So I talked about it the past couple of days. So the last 2 days, Scruffy voluntarily went into the carrier and slept. He's never done that before, so he hates the carrier. I think he's terrified of it. The best I can do for the past several years is put kibble in there, and then he would dart in and out trying to get the kibble without actually being in there for too long. And yeah, he's very suspicious too, so I can't be too close to him when he's doing that, or he won't go in the carrier. So the past 2 days, he just kind of went in the carrier and start napping. And yeah, so that's a big change. Might be partially because I put straw in there, and I hear cats like straw. But I got the straw mostly because I was hoping he'd use the shelter. that I built him. And it doesn't look like he's been in the shelter. At least I haven't seen him in it. But anyway, I didn't see him in the carrier today. I don't know if I'm going to see him in it again. Move my leg to give him more space, and he backed away. Yeah, so he's still really skittish. I'm gonna move the balls. He's coming back. There's some more food in the bowl he didn't get. Okay. But yeah, today was significant in my opinion because when I do see him in a spot, I sometimes see him only there for, he'll do it for 2 days in a row and then he'll move on. And then he'll never move there again. So I'm curious. So I was curious today if I'd see him in the carrier one more time because, yeah, I have seen him in spots where he'll be there for about 2 days and then I don't see him do that again. He moves on. He likes to rotate his spots. It's possible he can come back and he'll do it again in the future. But if he really likes the spot, sometimes I'll see him. He'll do maybe 3 or 4 days and then he'll move on. So I was kind of wondering what he'd do today. And since he wasn't in there, I'm thinking, yeah, maybe he doesn't like the carrier. But I need that. The rest of that fast. Taking more time. So that might be it with the carrier. I'll see. I should keep an eye on the shelter though. So now he's gotten a taste of how nice straw is. Maybe he'll use the shelter because there's a lot of straw in there. And it's warmer. Although it looks like it's going to start warming up a little bit, so he won't need, probably need the shelter. So at least till next winter. Okay, folks. Thanks for watching. See you next time.